Erik ten Hag laughed. You're even excited. Man United earned a point. Vina Park of Aston Villa. Not fun to be, by the 54-year-old coach. I just ruined my own 6th century. 2 consecutive seasons leading the Red Devils. It's the worst in more than 100 years of history of the club. 7 rounds in the Premier League. Season 2000 April 2nd, 2005. Man United scored 8 points. 1 point less than last season. And if you look at it in terms of complex thinking, in quotes from Ten Hag, Old Chamford is moving in the right direction. Dragon Bar indeed. Aston Villa made a very wise decision in avoiding friction with multiple parties. If you win Man United, Mbappe will be in the top 4 and towards the championship race. However, for the Vina Park team, Hans Korean, the Premier League is a very difficult thing to do. Even better than beating Man United. This means that 10 hats are discarded by SA. The rest of the 18 clubs are not happy. When you lose to the Red Devil, Aston Villa will be very sorry for the fans. They just beat Bayern Munich. What will happen if they lose to a team? It's as bad as Man United. Unai Emery's army finally chose to draw the entire village. With the match, there are no highlights. For 90 minutes. There is no win-lose result, but there is a winner. No one but Erik stopped him when it's hard for the SA to fire him. At this time in the stands of Vina Park, Sergej Rapleep with the entire team of 5 leaders. They all sat very seriously waiting. Loopholes are revealed. Death sentence for Manchester United head coach will be activated immediately. However, the dream game as always of the Red Devil. Back to the action Villa on a weekend dream, so that the opponent has a day under his power. However, anyone will recognize it. In a career-defining game holding pants, Coach Ten Hag was worried. He worried a lot. By using people throughout the entire battle, the Aston Villa fight the Dutch trade. I almost no longer trust any rookie. In summer 2000 April 2nd, except for the Marawi defender, there is no substitute, so use it. Zoza Zadi Manch de League. Mariel Ugate is on the bench. It means that the Ted Hat is implicitly bringing out the idea of survival. He was determined to beat Aston Villa by not choosing people. It's part of the leadership's long-term plan. It's important to remember that the new recruits, it's no longer primarily decided by the singer. Powers was relieved by the United man coach. Go to positive results instead of interfering with the transfer. Fortunately, the Red Devil did not win. This is no different than 10 are teasing the owner of the primary Rapleep by people, not according to you. So Manchester's superstructure is still trying to dodge. When asked about the future of Ten Hag, even if they have enough data to give to the 54-year-old coach a direct waste SA inspection, Manchester United start of the season 2002-05 to date, they only won 3 games, even in the last 5 games. The Old Trafford team, a form that hits the bottom, with 4 draws 1 loss. But the worst thing needs to be mentioned here. The last 3 Premier League rounds, Man United didn't even score a goal. What is the basis for calling them one? The clubs in the Big Sit group of this tournament. It's unbelievable. But what Manchester is doing is real. Real work, and when the game is over, people still want to hear Erik. What statements will be made? Of course, confidence. In an interview with the Dutch coach, then come whether it's Mikelta or Pep Guardiola. I think this is the 4th clean sheet of the season. You see, we have very good organization and unity, have good character and good team spirit, determined to persevere. My boss and I always talk to each other. We talk every week. We all share the same view. On a page of paper, we know what we're doing. It's a long process. Listen through once. It feels like Manchester won Aston Villa. It's here, but it's the worst opening in history since season 1990, when Sonic the Nick in 13th place is making Ten Hag sacrificed alive again. The current Red Fund, they're still in 14th place in the Premier League. Getting into the top 10 is still difficult. Sure, Mantis Racing top 6 is a very unrealistic prospect, let's say. Ambition between the Champions League next season. The results at the National Championship are not good. Ten Hag team in Europa League. There's no taste. Manchester United at home, before struggling to contain Porto on the away field. Stability in terms of results, it doesn't create anything positive. Instead, the Manchester, wishing for the fateful day 6 months ago, when Manchester won Man City. If it was a 7-year-old, maybe things were different. Ten Hag said that. Manchester City's slow pace this season. There's nothing to worry about. The former captain of Isaac. Don't worry about your position. In fact, Ten Hag had to leave last season, if we don't win the FA Cup, to salvage a little bit of faith. Really dim flabib with teammates. It's making the grave think. They're like Blazer music. but the British version. 6 years ago Jose Mourinho delayed his own departure by winning away from home before Juventus. 6 weeks later, the Portuguese coach was fired by SA. Meanwhile, the match near the penultimate of Oregon fluttered. It was a no-brainer against Tottenham, and maybe both of them should have been fired sooner. But the Crazer was procrastinating. In the case of Ten Hats, you don't even win. Many opponents from strong to weak, losing all over the field and home. And Dim Rapap just came to the match without making any decisions. Good for the club. And at SAO, planning to build a new stadium in Europe. Chamford is being played out in a very urgent way. Board of directors, they've even asked for fans' opinions. But as Captain Mattis, everything still hasn't changed. To spend week after week, the Red Fund has yet another 7-star face. Let John Evans be 36. Stlek Ferguson's last student to receive the Best Player award. The match with Aston Villa. No one understands the last 11 years. Amount spent for transfer periods, bringing back countless top players in exchange for something. Separate 10 cost Manchester nearly £620 million in the transfer market. 2 years at Old Trafford. However, no player has been 10. It's hard to bring back my own. It's all messed up in terms of performance, injury, eroding or notwithstanding pressure from public opinion. Formula for success. Playing for Man United for 11 years. After the CE League. Ferguson to Cristiano Ronaldo. Back in the day, Mr. Chamford couldn't even find a solution. Now the reform of Mathis are in a deep crisis. More than Chelsea in the previous season. The Blue have replaced 3 new coaches to find the necessary stability. But Ten Hag just saved my chair. One more time, when you rely on success and the ease of the superstructure, it's not wrong to call it calculus. Man United drew Aston Villa in the final match before the Premier League was suspended to make way for the FIFA Days schedule. It's hard to find a replacement right now, in the context of the players not fully present at the business desk. When the tournament comes back, Erik Ten Hag is still there to lead Man United in a semi-lean style. The lucky Man United won back the 54-year-old coach. It will be durable in the head coach chair even more. On the contrary, if the results continue, people will have to hope for leadership. Be cruel with Ten Hag instead of the fans of the Red Devils. There is no dawn to break. But things haven't changed. Angelina, despite temporarily leading the Golden Glove race after 7 rounds, mercantile goods make everything Mancha's goods. The power is even worse. And affordable. Old Chamford are training at the red light, so that when it's broken, Leo drives a fighting ship called Man United fall into the bottom group of the rankings. There are still excuses, but the prospect is small. Brad Lip needs quick action. When you know the coach, it doesn't help the club move forward. We are all waiting for the chair. There is no point for a pen hat. Will be RASAO when Monch continues 7 defeat. Everything must be clear in this late October period.